Alrighty, so we do have our power rankings. So this is the pre-draft ranking, so kind of where teams are at right now with free agency and before the draft. Obviously subject to change post-draft, but as we're going into the draft, wanted to give you our kind of rankings, our takes on where all 32 teams stand up. So we're going to break this down in three different sections. So first we'll do teams 32 through 21. 20 to 11, and then finish with the top 10. So Chase, let's go ahead and get started. Give us your rankings 32 to 21.
Absolutely. So coming in at dead last at 32, I have the Arizona Cardinals. Then at 31, I've got the Falcons. 30, I've got the New York Jets. 29, I have the Panthers. 28, I have the Texans. 27, I have the Bears. 26 is the Rams. 25 is the Colts. 24, I have the Las Vegas Raiders. 23 is the Broncos. 22 is the Saints. And rounding out our bottom feeder category is 21 Steelers.
Wow. Okay. So some things to look at there. I'm really curious. So you said you have Jets at 31?
At 30. I have Jets at 30.
Oh, 30. Oh, Falcons at 31. Jets at
Falcons
30.
at 31.
Talk about is that including the Aaron Rodgers or not?
No,
Yes,
that is Zach Wilson effect right there. If they roll into the season with Zach Wilson, they will be drafting the top 3 of this draft, right? They have a very young defense, very good defense, but also their stars on the court or on the field are Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, who are going to hit the sophomore slump. Everyone hits it. It's a thing in the NFL, right? And then they have Zach Wilson. They cannot start, right? His ego's hurt. Mike White left, so he is their starter. They really do not have another option. I'm just not, and if they get Rodgers, obviously that moves them up in the chart. But right now, that Zach Wilson effect drops them to 30.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, interesting. I guess not big on Zach Wilson.
No,
but I mean, I get it. So you had the Cardinals at 32, dead last.
Cardinals at last, yes. I think the Cardinals have had a decent team a couple years ago. A lot of that's gone. D-Hop's leaving. Marquise Brown's not the receiver that he was drafted as. Kyler Murray tore his ACL last Christmas, so he's going to be out for most, if not all of that next year. Josh Gannon came in. He looked in his press conference, kind of reminded me of Nathaniel Hackett, Adam Gase liked. Just the first meeting, seeing him trying to dap up, and his shots. I don't know if you've seen that talking to Rondell Moore. He looked just ridiculous. So I'm not too high on them. Oh man, cheesy, dumb.
That's I know we talked about it before in another episode when we talked about new head coaches.
Yes.
We both kind of feel the same about the Cardinals. So nice. Well, let me go ahead and give you my bottom feeder part here real quick. Got some similar and some that are different that might surprise you. So at number 32, the worst in the league, I have the Indianapolis Colts. And then at 31, I have the Cardinals. 30, I have the Rams. 29, I have the Falcons. 28, the Bears. 27, the Texans. 26, the Saints. 25, the Panthers. 24, the Titans. 23, Raiders. 22, the Browns. And finishing up at 21, I have the Commanders.
So, and you've got the Colts. I've got the Colts a little bit higher, but you have the Colts dead last. Let me hear your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, so I have the Colts dead last. I would have put the Cardinals dead last, but at this point, the Cardinals at least have a quarterback. I know he's injured. I know he's hurt. And so I might, that's why they're at 31, but they at least have the quarterback on the roster, whereas the Colts don't. We'll see if that changes.
Not a big Sam Ehlinger guy?
But not. And so just the fact that they just don't have the best, the most important position figured out still, it's just been a revolving door. They've tried to do it every season. It just hasn't worked out. I'm not very confident that they'll be able to figure it out. We'll see what happens, but as of right now, just because they don't have that singular piece, they struggled so long. I have them dead last year.
Okay, yeah, we've got some around the same area. You've got the Texans at 27. I've got the Texans at 28. Another one that we're not too high on is the Raiders. We both have the Raiders. I have the 24. You have them at 23. Correct. Correct. All right. And then another one is the Rams. We are both pretty low on the Rams. I have them at 26. You have them at 30. Walk me through that one.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, it's just the F them picks is starting to F them now.
Yes.
Granted, it worked. Congratulations. You won the Super Bowl. That's the whole point of doing that, was to win a Super Bowl. So you did it. Congratulations. A lot of other teams have not been able to win the Super Bowl at all, period, even with their picks. So you're able to put together a team and were to do it. So congratulations for doing it. But now you're reaping the consequence of that. You overpaid for a lot of players, to build that Frankenstein kind of bit of a team. And it worked, but now you're getting rid of like all of your defense. The only one you're keeping is Aaron Donald, which is a super important part, but he's just one guy. Getting rid of a lot of players, and even on offense, just shedding a lot of that cap space weight there, and you don't have a lot of picks to replenish it because you give them up for that Super Bowl. So congratulations, you did the Super Bowl. Where you're sitting at right now, don't have a lot of depth. We saw that last year when half the team was injured. You have a coach that is retiring every offseason, and then he comes back. Aaron Donald almost retired. It looked like, just have a lot of people that aren't showing 100% commitment. Matthew Stafford's been injured. Is he going to be able to come back? Apparently he is healthy and he's throwing. He feels good. Cooper Kupp, what's going to happen with him? He was injured as well. It's just a lot of things up in the air. That I'm not really too confident in them, and I think they're in a very tough division to be able to come out of, and that's why I'm just not very high on them.
Yeah, I agree with everything. Stafford, even in the year that he won the Super Bowl, right? He wasn't up for any awards. He didn't win Super Bowl MVP. He wasn't even that impressive, right? Led the league in picks. So Stafford's not the answer, right? He can't take the franchise and put it on his back. We've seen that in Detroit, right? So I just I agree with you, that you got them around the same, right? Their win now strategy won them one Super Bowl and then crumbled in front of their eyes. So it's good to see that the NFL is still the NFL. But the other thing is the two teams that we disagree on, at least that we don't have in the same category here, is the Commanders and Titans. You have them in the quote unquote bottom feeder category, and I have the Steelers and Jets. So.
Yeah.
That's
and so my Jets, I get to it, but in my I know the Aaron Rodgers hasn't happened yet, but I went into this with the mindset that it has happened.
Yeah, and that would have
give you
moved mine too.
Just to kind of give you a thought of where they're going to be at. My rankings, just so everybody knows and you kind of understand, is with the mind that Aaron Rodgers trade is going to happen. And then the Steelers, for me, just real quick, just with Mike Tomlin, they have never had a losing season. So even though they're kind of the definition of mid,
that's true.
I don't think they're bottom feeders at all. I think they are
That's true.
Right now the definition of mid, so they're going to be in the mid tier for me, just because they find ways to win against all odds, and obviously that defense, and we'll talk about it kind of when we get up there, but that's kind of why I have the Steelers not in the bottom feeder.
Yeah. I guess I overlooked that crazy streak of Mike Tomlin. I did that mostly off of their offense, right? I'm not big on George Pickens. I'm not big on Kenny Pickett. Najee Harris doesn't seem like what he was built to be as a running back. So that offense, but I kind of overlooked the Tomlin, just oomph to get him over that 500.
It's pretty good. So let's go ahead and go on into that mid tier then. So it's going to be 22 to 11. Chase, so go ahead and give us those rankings for you.
Yeah, so at 20, I have the Commanders. At 19, I have the Titans. 18, I have the Patriots. 17, I have the Browns. 16, I have the Bucks. 15, I have the Giants. 14, I have the Vikings. 13, I have the Lions. 12, I have the Ravens. 11, I have the Seahawks.
Okay, interesting. I like that. So even though Seahawks made the playoffs last year, still not quite putting them in the top 10, just outside the top 10.
Just outside, yep. I think, I'm good. It's good to see Geno, the best story in the NFL last year, and I'm really, really high on Geno, right? That Seahawks. Pete Carroll seemed to come alive as a drafter, but again, I believe that sophomore season, right, that sophomore slump is coming to a lot of their players. They had a lot of rookies taking snaps for him, and I just want to, before I can put him in top 10, I want to see if Geno can do it 2 years in a row.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. So I'll go ahead and give you mine here. So I have the Broncos in at 20. the Patriots in at 19, Steelers 18, Packers 17, Ravens at 16, Bucks at 15, Giants at 14, Aaron Rodgers Jets at 13, Vikings at 12, and Lions at 11.
Okay, so we've got about the same. We've got the big difference is the Packers at 17. Man, that hurts.
Packers at 17. Yeah, so I mean, third in their division last year. Obviously, that was with Aaron Rodgers. Whether he stays or not, Jordan Love is going to be the starting quarterback there moving forward, and so just obviously, I haven't really seen enough of him to be confident in the Packers moving forward compared to the other teams in the division. You saw them lose to the Vikings. You saw them lose to the Lions. Obviously they own the Bears still. We'll see if that's just the Aaron Rodgers effect or if that's actually the Packers effect. But it's just I still think they're there in that mid tier for sure, because I think a lot of those games could have gone either way. So they weren't getting blown out really. Those were pretty close games for the most part. Just really didn't have the to kind of get over the hump and to win those games. But I just have a sour taste in my mouth, especially at that last game with home field at Lambeau, winning in the playoffs, and they just laid an egg, and so that just kind of sticks with me there as we go in here to the next season. So that's why I can't put them up any higher than. Honestly, I felt I was generous there at having them at 17. They could have fallen as low as 20 to me, honestly. But when I looked at the other teams that I put there, Broncos, Patriots, and Steelers, I still think even with Love, they'd be better than any of those teams. So that's why I got them there at 17.
Yeah. And I think we have, I think this one we have more correct. We got the Vikings in around. You have them at 12. I have them at 14. So they, with a monster season there, neither one of us put them in the top 10, right? They went 13-5, 13-4, won their division. They lost in the first round. But walk me through your process, and then I'll talk about the Vikings just a little bit.
Yeah. So you lost to the Giants. You lost to the Giants. Okay. Congrats on the Giants on having this, come around season, but the Giants suck. And the Vikings, who are a division winner, who, were able to make to the playoffs there, and they lost to the first round into the Giants, and that's just bad, dude. So their defense was horrible. Their offense was okay, but the majority of their wins were all going to be those one possession wins. So the year before they lost those one possession wins. This year they won those one possession games, but it was only enough to take them so far whenever they actually had to put it together in the playoffs, and they couldn't do it. And I was actually very high on the Vikings. I picked them to win that division, so that was one of my takes that I felt good about. That turned out being right to win that division, but I didn't have them going any farther really in the playoffs. I figured they should have won that game, but obviously they didn't, and so It's the defense. I think Kirk Cousins is good enough with the offensive weapons there on his end to not win a Super Bowl ever, but to kind of be around there in that playoff contention at least, but not kind of get them over the hump of that. But they definitely should have beat the Giants. And honestly, their defense is just so bad that, the Giants beat them. So they got to get better, and Kirk Cousins needs to show up when the lights are bright. Obviously, that's one of those the stories of his career is when the lights are bright, he shrinks, and so that's going to be a problem moving forward as well, because the lights don't get any brighter than in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I think I have the Vikings at 14. I think you're right. This season is the first season that Kirk Cousins actually won one possession games. Normally he's awful in them. I think Kirk Cousins even won a primetime game that the refs gifted him on Thanksgiving, right? They recalled 2 touchdowns from the Patriots. I just think the Vikings were the luckiest team last year. I think they're very skilled, right? Jay Jetta is the wide receiver there, is top 2 in the NFL. And Dalvin Cook, if he is even back, there's rumors that he might get cut, but he's a very skilled running back. But I don't think Kirk Cousins is the man to win anything. Maybe a season title every now and then, maybe even a division every other year. But I'm not high on the Vikings just because Kirk Cousins not that guy.
Yeah, no, he's not. So he's kind of made his kind of niche in the league as kind of as a starter. but not as somebody that's going to be able to take them in the long haul into the promised land. So I think we're both pretty much in agreement in that. I wouldn't even call you out for being a homer when it comes to that. So I think I think we're pretty much in agreement. But let's go ahead and get to the top 10. So this is going to be good here. So this is obviously interesting to see kind of how you have in the top 5. So for me, going into this, the top 5 for me was super easy. Ranking them 6 through 10 was where it got harder for me. I don't know how it was for you, but let's go ahead and hear your top 10.
Yeah, so my top 10 starts with the Packers at 10. Then we got the Dolphins at 9. We've got the Jags at 8, the Chargers at 7. This one was the hardest between these two teams at 6 and 5. I put the Cowboys at 6 and the Bengals at 5. Put the Super Bowl losers at 4 and the Eagles. I put the Niners at 3. I put the Bills at 2, and I put the Chiefs, the reigning champions, at 1.
Okay. Yeah. So what? I'm curious why the Bills at 2 over the Bengals.
Yeah. So I still believe in Josh Allen. I think that offense kind of fizzled out through the season, right? They went through that pretty devastating injury with DeMar Hamlin and all that stuff going around. I think that kind of played effect. If that doesn't go that way, I think the playoffs look different, right? I think that had them all rattled. Von Miller tore his ACL. They lost that pass rush that they thought they had. And with him coming back this season, I just think the Bills are still a better constructed team than the Bengals. The Bengals have been kind of running around during this offseason doing some dumb stuff, right? Joe Mixon got in trouble. Jamar got in trouble. T. Higgins has been in the news lately. And those guys are going to be fighting for contracts this year. The offensive line for the Bengals still didn't look like it can hold up. How many more hits can Joe Burrow have? I just think the Bills, as you know, I think it was the hot pick at the start, and then it was even hotter to pick against them. And I'm still not picking against them. I think the Bills do have the chance to make it to that Arrowhead Invitational.
Come on down and see. We're waiting for you. Pencil it in. Interesting. Yeah. So let's go ahead and give you mine here. So I have Seahawks at 10. I've got the Fins at 9. I've got the Cowboys at 8. Chargers at 7. Jags at 6. Bills at 5. Eagles at 4. Bengals at 3. 49ers at 2. And then, of course, Chiefs at 1.
Yeah, I don't mind that. One of the things is Cowboys at 8. Talk me through that.
Dak Prescott.
Okay.
Dak Prescott. I'm not a believer in Dak. I think they have the offense. They've had the offensive weapons. They've had the defense, and they just haven't been able to do it. And they're kind of adding some pieces. They add Stephon Gilmore. They're adding Brandon Cooks, trying to add more people to the talent. To the talent pool into the team. But I just they scapegoated Kellen Moore, and I just it's Dak that's the problem. And I think Dak he just can't do it. And it's kind of going to be like a Kirk Cousins thing. Where he's very talented, but he's just not going to be the guy that's going to be able to take the team to the promised land either. And so for me, looking at that, and that's what holds me back for the Cowboys is they're hyped up every single year. This is the year, and then every year it's not. So I've never been on the Cowboys hype train. I've never been on the Dak hype train, and they prove me right every single year. So maybe it's the Missourian in me from the show me state, but you have to show me you can do it before I'm ever gonna believe in you, and you have yet to do that in my 27. In my 27 years of life, you have yet to do that. And so I'm out on the Cowboys. Very, very talented team, very successful team. That's why they're in the top 10 because they are a top 10 team for sure. But I can't put them any higher. I can't put them any higher than 8.
Sure, yeah. I put them at 6. I think they're a lot talented, and as we've talked about before, I am on the Dak train. I think Dak's got some special skill. I think he's one of the best pocket passers in the league. And I do believe they scapegoated Kellen Moore, and the reason they went 6 and not 5, like I said, that was the hardest decision, is because if McCarthy is calling the plays, that's kind of a downside. I watch McCarthy call plays and watch us lose to McCarthy called Packers with Aaron Rodgers, gave Josh Rosen his only win in the NFL in Lambeau. That's how bad of a play caller McCarthy is. So that's why they didn't go, that's why they couldn't hit my top 5. But I jump on that Cowboys bandwagon every year. So I don't. That team is too talented. I think Dak is good enough to win one. So.
Well, it's going to have to get past the 49ers and the Eagles. So for me, I have my 49ers at 2. I just think they were, honestly, I think if Brock Purdy doesn't get hurt, I think they beat the Eagles. We'll never know. But I had the 49ers at 2. I just think they're the most complete team in the entire NFL. And the best defense in the league, in my opinion. One of the best offenses in the league. It's crazy how they can be successful, really, no matter who is at quarterback. But being able to roll in Brock Purdy there and be successful and make it to the NFC Championship game is super impressive. So that just tells you that, the team that they have, the coaching that they have, the players. And so for me, I have 49ers at 2. And I think that they're my early favorite for the NFC Championship winners for next season as well.
Yeah. I about put the 49ers at 2. I went with Josh Allen over whoever they're starting at quarterback. I tend to value the quarterback position a little bit more than Kyle Shanahan maybe does. But no, I think the 49ers are the best team in the AFC, and I think it's by a landslide, right? Their team is young. It's good. They've got key players at every position. They've got key players at positions that normally don't matter, that they make matter, right? George Kittle, Fred Warner, normally inside linebacker, tight end. You can get away with not having elite ones. They have elite ones, and they're keys of their offense/defense. So I like the 49ers a lot.
Awesome. Well, that wraps up our first NFL team rankings. Obviously, these are pre-draft rankings, so we'll keep one, we'll do that again after the draft. So we'll do another post-draft ranking to see kind of where they're at. And then as we get closer to the NFL season